Hello. I figured I would do a video rather than typing because my PC is not working. And because my PC is not working, I didn't really feel comfortable with writing it all up on the phone. Can do it, but shan't. Not such a comfortable thing for me to do. So today is the 1st of December already, and today marks 5 years alcohol free. Mazel tov. It also marks 5 months and 5 days free from weed and tobacco. Now, tobacco's a interesting one because I quit it for over a decade, and then when I started working as a carer, nearly everyone I met and shadowed shifts with smoked, and my brain was like, oh god, you're going to go back. And I did a couple of times briefly, but thankfully, no longer. Oh, womp womp. With weed, however, that was very much a long-term relationship, on and off since I was 18. I'm 38 now, so long time. And as the media says, one of the few things I will agree with them on with regards to weed, it is getting stronger. And I found back in 2012 I started getting panic attacks, which led to daily aches and pains, almost 24/7, lasting years, non-stop. That was rough. Pestered doctors, hospital visits, nurses, GPs, all sorts, and they kept saying, well, all the tests are coming back negative, so it's probably just stress. And it took me many, many years to accept that that was the reality, and even then, it didn't really mitigate the aches and pains for a long time after. And even now, at times of like really high stress, my body does kind of react as you'd expect it to, really. Stressed mind leads to a stressed body. But 2012 was a long time ago, and in recent years, things have improved for the most part. I've still had some periods of extremely high anxiety and stress, mostly when I'm in relationships, actually. But that's been ever since my first relationship. My anxiety and depression just went through the roof. I remember after our first kiss, I got back home and the worries started to begin, because I was just like, well, this is amazing. This is my first girlfriend, first kiss. Isn't this lovely and magical? But then my brain was like, yes, but when is it going to end? Or what's going to go wrong? And the inner critic doing its best to convince me, well, you're not good enough for her, so she's going to leave you and find someone better. And just months of that. It's enough to kill a relationship. It's enough to drive you rather loopy with anxiety, depression, and self-harm, and all sorts of wonderful stuff. Live and learn, eh? Live and learn. But no, quitting alcohol was the big one. But I was never really a social drinker. Now, a lot of people on the spectrum do substances, especially alcohol, because it's socially acceptable and it helps, as with everyone, it helps loosen you up a bit and you can feel more chatty and at ease. And when you're someone who masks all the time to fit in and quote unquote high functioning, it is exhausting to keep up that charade. But when you have a history of school and college and university and jobs where they say, when you show your true colours, you're being too loud, you're being too distracting, you not do this, and you start to attach shame around genuine aspects of your character, but the ones which aren't exactly convenient for said teacher or manager or boss, But no, I was never a big social drinker. I was the stereotypical alcoholic. I drank on my own. I drank too much. I drank every day, for the most part. In fact, in the final few years, going a day or so without drink felt like an achievement. And I remember there was a job where I worked evenings, so I would get drunk during the day. The amount of days, months, weeks where I'd just wake up and the first thing I'd do is drink, just because it's very effective. A bit like if you smoke a joint first thing in the morning, that buzz keeps you going for a very long time. Now there's a lot of shame attached to it, as with any kind of addiction and substance, and it's self-medicating for internal discomfort, but the substances, whatever it is you choose, or behaviours as well, because there's lots of addictive behaviours as well, it creates a whole set of new problems. You're trying to distract, focus, or feelings from certain aspects of your life, and you just end up creating more issues in the process, and obviously not dealing with the original problems you're trying to escape from in the first place, because no substance is going to do that. Now, I wanted to quit alcohol for a long time. The shame around it was huge, and I started getting migraines. Migraines are horrible. I won't wish them on anyone. And I was getting them regularly, and it's debilitating. When I went to see the doctor, they were like, well, what's changed? Because they don't tend to just come on out of nowhere, but I didn't have the heart to tell them how much I was drinking. Did find triptans, which I recommended to everyone who gets migraines, because they, for me and everyone I recommended them to, bar one person, they nullify like 80-90% of the pain from migraine. And if you've ever had a migraine, you know that removing 80-90% of the pain is life-changing, because migraines are horrible. You feel like you're going to die. You feel like you're having a stroke. They are horrible. So yeah, alcohol free. Now, for most people, that's the 1st of January, where it's a new year, new beginnings. Reassess, make plans, make promises and resolutions. I will not do this, I will do this, etc., etc. Now, it kind of suits me that I'm doing it on a different date, go by the beat of a different drum, as it were. Also, sometimes I can just be stubborn and just like to be different. But yeah, so I have had an interesting year, actually. I changed job, which was huge. Now, I interviewed late May and started the job after my birthday, so in July. It's the best job I've ever had, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, when I was a carer for a year, I knew that this is the path I wanted to take. It just wasn't with the right company, and also, working with the elderly was very rewarding, but working with younger people with learning disabilities is very different, because you're out in the community a lot more, like, with people where you have days out with them, you're doing lots of activities and stuff, because for the most part, the elderly I cared for, you're caring for them in their home, and they can't go out, or they don't go out other than medical appointments, etc., or a family visit and take them out, which for a lot of clients was a rarity. They were pretty isolated, which is difficult walking into that environment, because it was care in the community as well, so you were driving to their homes and visiting them and stuff. but it was very rewarding. It was just very long hours, and yeah, the company was a bit tricky in that respect. The work-life balance wasn't there, basically, and you can sustain that for a certain point, but in February of this year I burnt out. I was signed off for 2 weeks, which is a toe congestion. I've had it before when it comes to mental health, but I was exhausted to the point I just couldn't do it. My body was saying no, my brain was saying no, so I told them, and when I came back to work they adjusted the rota. I had it coincide with the person I was dating at the time, so what was it, working Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, working Friday, off Saturday, working Sunday. Can't remember. It's 3 days off a week, basically, which was a rarity in that company. Most people I knew there would get 1 day off a week. Some didn't. Some would get 1 weekend off a month. But yeah, the work-life balance wasn't there because the company was very much profit-driven. So, you know, when that's the case, then certain things are amiss, and work-life balance is one of them. But no, I set my foot through the door in this open evening at this charity that I now work for, and I knew straight away this is the place that I'm going to work. And the clients I work with are amazing. I feel blessed to work with them. Lovely people, lovely colleagues, lovely managers. You know, it's all there. This job literally ticks every single box. Job satisfaction, financially as well, and my work-life balance. It's all there. When in the previous job it wasn't. It was the right industry in terms of helping people, but it wasn't the right company. So that's huge, because I worked 18 years in office jobs, and that was not even being melodramatic here, that was soul destroying, because, you know, I didn't want to do it. And, you know, I was capable of doing it, but not consistently, because I was so bored of doing the same thing day in, day out, which is basically glorified copy and paste, you know. Same queries, same phone calls, same emails, same processes, and it's just mind-numbing. And I'd go into autopilot mode and rush through work and make lots of mistakes because the work didn't interest me, and then I'd get into trouble because, you know, managers and stuff are like, why is this wrong, why is that wrong, you know what to do, why are you doing so many mistakes, etc. It's like, well, because it does not interest me whatsoever. But yeah, so I'm more than glad that I'm out of that. And then in terms of sobriety, well, I quit the smoking 5 months ago, because with weed you end up in a routine, but not a very good one. You know, my days off were very much just kind of, you know, you'd smoke and then you'd sober up and then you'd smoke again, and, you know, I mean, it makes music enjoyable, and, you know, media, gaming and other stuff, but my gaming addiction was winding down and had been for years, so I was at a point where I wasn't really heavily invested in gaming either, and I just found the smoking weed lackluster, you know. It was just like, half of the time, more than half of the time, it was making my anxiety get worse, so I was getting aches and pains, chest pains, dizziness, neck tension, shoulder pains, extreme stomach aches, headaches. The dizziness was the really bad one though, it was horrible, and the chest tightness and racing heart and just horrible. Oh, and also not dreaming. No dreams, just fall asleep and it was the void, and then I'd wake up often feeling exhausted because quality of sleep wasn't great either. So yeah, definitely many reasons to not do it. And, you know, I've only met a couple of people who are the same as me. For me, weed did not make me sleepy. It would keep me up. My brain would be super active if I'd smoked. Keep me up for ages, and then, like I said, no dreams, which is just horrid, because dreams are pleasant. process all sorts, and yeah, just wasn't nice. So for me, there wasn't really any positives to weed, because most of the time my anxiety would shoot up almost straight away, and I'd have 45 to 60 minutes of extreme anxiety and aches and pains before it would mellow out, and then I'd have, 45 minutes or so of feeling the buzz, but it was quickly winding down, and then I'd chase it again. So it's kind of like extreme anxiety and then mellow, and then extreme anxiety and mellow, and it's not workable. It's not what you need to be doing. So that, plus the tobacco, but that was just kind of left over from when I was working as a carer. And the eating healthier then began, in earnest, should I say. And then cooking, which I never expected, because with cooking, whenever I attempted it, it was bland, or I just made a mess and I'd get frustrated, and my mindset was, I can't cook. That was my belief, so therefore it was my reality. But earlier in the year, I just thought, no, you know what, just try it. It's like drawing, it's like music, it's something creative. Like, give it a go, have the confidence in yourself, and see what happens, because I'm sure you'll be surprised. And sure enough, I was. I just went with my gut, and I continue to do so. So I don't follow recipes, I just throw it all together, and it works. Everything I'm making is really, really delicious, and it's a good feeling, obviously. But it is a good feeling. It's nice to cook healthy food and to have tidied up my diet. And then, just shy of 2 months ago, I then started the gym, which was something I'd also never really thought I would do. Not to say that I didn't want to do it, but I wanted to fill out, because as you can probably see, I'm quite a scrawny guy. Thankfully, I'm not skeletal, but it's not great. But well, as you can see, I sit cross-legged on the floor, and the thing I'm not going to demonstrate, but the thing that I do while sitting on the floor is swaying from side to side, because self-soothing and being on the spectrum and all that jazz. So that's what I've done ever since I was young, for many, many, many hours a day. And I've got my low table here with my PC, which is broken at the moment. New one arriving Tuesday, but I'd have that there, and I'd do my swaying, listen to music, chat with friends, reading, gaming, blah 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 blah. But doing it lots, and it was, well, repetitive action. It, when it comes to muscles, etc. So it gave me abs, it gave me strong shoulders, and this, that, and the other. But I thought, no, I want to fill out more, because I'm pretty skinny, and I've always been that way, and I've accepted that's the way I am. It's just, I thought, well, why not go to the gym and, see what it's all about? And, I knew that people would get into it. Some of the time I thought, well, how much of this is, the people taking it to extremes? Is this just another form of body dysmorphia, which seems to be promoted in this day and age, when you consider how prevalent and normalised extreme photo filters are on people's faces, just turning them into blank, featureless, pale masses, and you just think, well, it's not really you, is it? The stronger the filter, the less confident the person would seem to be. Or, when someone's really, really big and they're kind of super close up on their face, so you just see this and half their face. And the reality is, but again, own it. If that's who you are, don't be duplicitous about it. I remember my third girlfriend. That's, she's a larger lady. I've dated people of all shapes and sizes. But from her photos, you wouldn't have thought it, because extreme angles and, not showing her body other than the tops of her shoulders. And then when I met her in person, I was like, oh, bamboozled. But we had a lovely relationship, a lovely time. I just think, be honest about it, but that's a sign of the times. So there we go. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, there's been a lot of good changes relationship wise. Kind of this time last year, relationship was ending. That one was not healthy at all. Neither were my subsequent two this year, but I'm still friends with one, which is nice. We get on well. But yeah, my pattern is being drawn towards people where, there's trauma bonding, there's being drawn towards people who are different, but also people who have known a lot of struggles, and it would be nice to meet someone healthy and grounded, and also someone where I feel safe in the relationship, because I've not really had that often in a relationship, and if I have, it's been because I've gone for someone where I felt safe because I felt like they like me more than I like them, which is not very commendable or respectable behaviour. But there we have it. But I know that will come, all in due time. But no, I've made a lot of positive changes this year. The stuff which I'd never really kind of expected to. I mean, for a long time, a lot of years, I was trying to tidy up my diet, and now it's finally stuck. I never thought I'd be into cooking. Never thought I'd find like a dream job, and this really, really is. I mean, I know eventually I'd like to do my artwork and other stuff full time. My mentor is very much convinced that I have a lot to give as a medium in the future. And then there's the book. Well, I think books plural, but obviously it's dedicating the time to getting the first one finished. But yeah, the gym, having healthy boundaries as well. I've kind of distanced myself from quite a lot of people, not just unhealthy relationships, but also just people where I just realise, yeah, the vibe's not right with them, and we can keep things perfectly polite and civil, but I just thought, as a friend, you need to be around people who aren't draining or where you feel awkward around them and stuff like that, because that's just not going to work, not long term anyway. And then there's just the feeling of being happy in my own company, which has been improving. And what with the PC dying last Friday, that was a kind of nightmare scenario, or what if, for me for a long time. I thought I'd feel absolutely lost if I didn't have a PC, but it happened, and I'm on day 9, and it's been okay. I felt a little bit wayward towards the end, like yesterday and a bit today, but it's keeping busy, and it's not the worst thing in the world, is it? Right, I think that's all done. So yeah, things are going okay. Things are going alright. Van still hasn't sold yet, but that will take... My face looks very red. Is it red? No. Looks red. It's not red. Yeah, the van's going to take however long it takes. It's got the MOT tomorrow or Tuesday. And then hopefully that's no more money I need to spend on it other than the advert, which is £50 every 6 weeks, I think. It's been 4 months, had one phone call. That didn't amount to anything, and then I had emails, and they were fraudulent. So, and I shouldn't rely on it as a salvation fantasy to get me to where I want to be, but financially it needs to be sold so that I can be out of debt. But winter isn't really the season. People aren't really looking for camper vans, so what can I do? But no, the exercise is going well, eating properly. Socially, it still feels a little bit lacking, but what can you do? You know, most of 90% of the socialising at the moment is online. I meet up with friends now and then, not being at either of the circles recently wasn't the easiest of things. It has. Well, I know I'll be going back to both of them. It's just a case of when. I know it will be sooner rather than later. It's just I didn't want any drama there because the who I distanced myself from, you know, they were things which weren't adding up the more or the longer I knew them, and I just thought, yeah, this isn't healthy, even as a friendship, let alone how hot and heavy it initially started, and feeling like, oh no, actually this is going to be a relationship, and then realising, oh no, it's not, and also it can't be a friendship. But you know, they're stuck in their vicious circles, destructive routine, and as expected, their relationship is spicy, but that was to be expected, and it's another reason why I distanced myself from them, because I did not want to be dragged into that nonsense. But no, I'll be returning to both of the circles in due time. I didn't have my one-to-one with the medium this week because she wasn't feeling great. She's having headaches and vertigo, which isn't good. I can relate there. As I said, I've had prolonged dizziness before, not just from smoking weed, but also just from general anxiety. And it's a horrible feeling. Just feeling that kind of off-kilter, and you don't feel safe or composed in your own body. It's a horrible feeling. But yeah, so socially I would like more, but you know, I know it will come all in due time. I just think, you know, distancing myself from that, well, cutting off that new friend and then not going to either of the circles, that's kind of multiple avenues of socialising suddenly stopped. Obviously the circles are temporarily, but yeah, it's just a little bit tricky vis-a-vis loneliness, but it'll be alright in the long term. I remind myself of that. Can't really think of anything else that's going on at the moment. There isn't really anything. Not really. Just trying to finish up this picture today. And then on to the next one, which is a bit spooky. I do like it though, but it is a bit creepy. I'm also not a fan of this new paper because it says it's A4, but it's, can't really see there, but it's about a centimetre shorter than what A4 should be. So that's going to be interesting when it comes to framing and printing. Frame the original winner custom size thing, but prints I can just upsize. Can't really do prints until the van sells though. I've got so much riding on the van selling, and it's part of the reason it's frustrating, but also not willing to lose thousands and thousands on what I spent on it, because the interior is completely unused, completely, you know, it's all brand new in there, unlived in. So, you know, I spent over 35 grand. I would like to get over 30 grand for it, but we shall see. We shall see. I mean, it was a relief in terms of realisation when I finally admitted I need to sell it, because I was personality mirroring someone I was dating several years ago. They were into van life and, you know, had some weeks of experiencing it intermittently, and yeah, you know, there's a reason it's so popular. You know, it's cool, it's liberating, and it's different, and You know, you can understand why people enjoy it. It's just that wasn't really me at the end of the day. You know, it's not to poo-poo it, because it is cool, but it's not me. So, you know, when it's not me, I could only carry that kind of fantasy on for so long before reality came to pass, and it wasn't me. So, you know, 2 years, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of money and energy. Oh, is that? Yeah, that's right. So yeah, there was definitely a sense of relief when I admitted to myself in summer, you know what, no, I'm going to pass the torch to someone else and let them finish the project, because it's not what I want to do. So many people were upset or seemingly disappointed, like, oh no, it's such a shame. It's like, well, no, because it's not me. It would be a shame if it was my dream and I had to give up on my dream, but it was never really my dream. It was someone else's way of life and me personality mirroring them. And yeah, you know, it's not to say there's negatives if it was finished and I did experience it for a while, but it never materialised that way. It needs £6,000 or £7,000 more to finish it. I'm over £20,000 in debt. I've had nearly 2.5 years now and living next to no money, and I'm tired of that. So, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Once it's gone, it's a good thing. You know, people assumed, a lot of people got caught up in the romanticised idea of, oh my God, you can go anywhere, you're going to be nomadic, how freeing, it's going to be amazing, you could go all over the world, this, that and the other. And people were so excited for something that I didn't even really feel a fraction of this excitement that they had for me, and I kind of felt like a fraud. I'm like, why are you so excited and I'm not feeling this? I'm not getting what you're putting out there, you know? And it's tricky, you know, but I'm glad that I admitted it's not for me. You know, that's a good thing to admit. Fair enough, it took a couple of years, but better late than never, because you know, it's not me. It's not me, and there's no shame in admitting that. It's just one of those things. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. So I'm not going to. Would that work? It's a bit dark. So yeah, I'm not going to agree with people when they say, "Oh, it's a real shame," you know. No, it's not for me. So let the right person come along, the right person where, you know, it will be their dream, and you know they can finish the last few bits that need doing in the way that they want it to, and then they can enjoy it how it's supposed to be enjoyed. Because that's the other big thing for me now. It's been years with that van parked in front of the house, and it's not exactly taunting me, but it was a daily reminder. You know, you haven't finished it yet, you still got thousands to spend, and it's just a bit tiring. So it'll be good once it's gone. For me, for the new owner, yeah, it's all good stuff. So that's the van. That's the sobriety, that's eating better, that's the gym, that's work, that's relationships, friendships. I think I'm about done. I think so. I can't think of anything else that there is to talk about. Nearly finished this. Lovely. It's looking good. This will be 20th this year. 20th picture. Not bad. I'll have to do a collage or some kind of thing for once the year's over, for all the artwork that's done. But yeah, once the van sells, I'm going to get a good quality. I'm going to get A3 printer because scanner, because once you go up to A2, it's thousands of pounds, and I know it would be a worthwhile investment, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to be doing A2 pieces again because they're too big. It's 4 times the size of this, and it takes so long, and it kills the pencils, and the pencils are expensive. So I don't think I'll be going back to that, but yeah. And I can get all the artwork scanned, do my own printing, do my own framing, get the website back up and running, because that's about £30 a month, and I had literally no sales, and that website was up for years, and I spent over £1,000 on advertising on Facebook, and I mean, it's not much in the grand scheme of things with advertising, but the fact that I've only had one sale from a person via my website, via my art page on Facebook, every other sale has been through face to face. I've had no sales from art exhibitions that I've been part of. I've had no sales from art and craft fairs that I attended. And people would often come to me with so many ideas, like, you should have a website. So I got a website. You should do prints. So I did prints. You should do business cards. You should do Facebook. You should do Instagram. You should do videos of you drawing. You should maybe do postcards, maybe do greetings cards, maybe put it on clothes or stationery. And it's like trying all these ideas that other people are giving to me, and I know that it's coming from a good place. They want to see me succeed, but it's not really being what I want to do. You know, I'll draw a picture, put it in a frame, job done. You either buy it or you don't. Most people don't. But then again, I also know that most people will appreciate artwork and photography, but there's just a tiny fraction of those people who would like it enough to buy it. So yeah, but I will be incorporating my drawings with my book. I always loved books which had illustrations in it, and with chapters of book, each chapter will have a picture, along with obviously the cover for the book and a final piece as well. But yeah, so that's about it really. This year's been good. There's been a lot of changes, positive ones, you know, sobriety and eating better and the gym and the job, and just being mindful and careful of, you know, who I'm friends with, and just knowing as well, just waiting for the right person to come along in terms of relationship, because it will happen, and I don't need to put a time or date on it. The universe will provide. I will know the right person when they come along. Still convinced that person I dated a few years ago is the person I'll eventually end up being with. If they don't feel that way and it doesn't pan out that way, that's fine. I know that we'll be friends for life. But I just feel like they're the one. And I can't really shake that feeling. I just know that neither of us were in a position to date. We both vocalised that when we met, but we didn't listen to it. We kind of threw caution to the wind, and the reality was very emotionally turbulent, extremely. But the fundamental is that in terms of personality and just as people, the bond that we had in such a short space of time, and what my gut said is, this is the right person. This is the right person for you. Now again, if that just turns out to be friendship, it is what it is. But I genuinely think with We're talking years here. Years of growth and learning and healing and development. I just feel that when both of us are in the right time and place, I just feel like it's going to happen. You know, and I can't deny what my gut feels. But like I said, if it doesn't materialise, it doesn't materialise. That is a very dark purple. Yeah, under the light actually looks pretty good. But the problem with this is the dust. It's the only problem with working in pencil. That's why I've got a makeup brush. Because this dust, if you allow it to settle on the artwork and then it smudges, it's not fun. Although I have found a rubber which actually removes coloured pencil. It's the first rubber I've ever found which does that in 13 years of drawing. So yeah, that's definitely a good thing. Yeah, this is a very dark purple, but at the same time I want it to help the colours pop. You know, I've done a very colourful picture. I mean, most of my pictures tend to be quite colourful, but you know, this one in particular is very vibrant. So I think a very dark purple for the sky, contrasting with the orangey red clouds and this very vibrant grass colour that I chose, I think is going to pop. Lovely. Well, there we go. I think that's about it. Nearly 40 minutes. What a load of waffle. But yeah, it's good. It's nice to have a positive video for the first time in ages as well, because I posted a lot of recordings and stuff in the past where mental health has not been good, and still in the midst of addictions and mental health struggles, and yeah, so it's nice to be able to actually have something where I feel like, you know what, I've made a lot of progress recently. So there we go. So today is 555. 5 years alcohol free, 5 months and 5 days weed and tobacco free. So you gotta love that. Anyways, signing out.